Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live. And this one, a little bit of a special one because we're doing it on Saturday morning, which, Brian, I don't think we've ever done a live on Saturday morning. I know we've done like a couple of hits for the New York Post previewing some fights,
That's
but
true.
we've never done like a live show Saturday morning. But we felt like we couldn't just leave you hanging this week, a busy week for both Brian and I. But we wanted to make time for you guys. So thanks so much for rocking with us. Remember, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO because there was a pack that came out that you could download for Undisputed. Cost some money though. Cost about what? $17 US?
16. 16.
Okay.
And it's on sale. So technically this pack is $20, but yes, it is on sale for 16, 15 or 20% off or whatever it is.
Okay. So Undisputed
17
has
something after taxes though. So not that
has an
much on sale.
update. They have an update, and we're getting this after we bought the game a couple of months ago in October. They're finally giving us an update, but we got to pay for it. But a lot of cool things in this update as well in terms of fighters. Couple of fighters. Brian, I'll let you read the update and all those little facts that come with it.
Okay, so I mean, people are calling Steel City, STEAL, because there are people who think that this is a money grab, not just this pack, but like the entirety of the game, so to speak. But I mean, if you bought the deluxe or a deluxe, like if you bought the WBC deluxe, like I believe we both did, you still have to pay for this. If you paid for, I don't remember what the $100 edition was, but it came with like a bunch of shit. But you still have to pay for this. So just because you bought the deluxe, it's not like with some other games where like in WWE, for example, they've in the past, like if you bought a deluxe version, you didn't have to buy like all the add-ons, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. Like if you have, I forget what the fuck it's called, but if you have it basically, then you qualify for like, all the packs that come out, whatever the case may be. You don't have to pay extra. Some packs you do, some packs you don't. But this one, you just have to straight up pay for it. So the pack is headlined by Jake Paul. We'll get more to him in a second. But also on this pack, you have alternate attires. You have other fighters. You have Mexican legends Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, and Juan Manuel Marquez. And you also have heavyweights. You have James Buster Douglas, not Mike Tyson, who I believe still has a deal with EA. So good luck getting him for this game. James Buster Douglas, Zhilei Zhang, and Otto Wallin. No disrespect, but I'm not sure how many people were banging the door for Otto Wallin to join this game on a pack. But you have Jake Paul in this game as well, and this is this is one of the many issues with me on this. And there's also some gameplay stuff. We'll get to that in a second. Um, Jake Paul has an 84 overall, Chantel. 84. Okay.
It's crazy.
Eh,
That's crazy. But he
so
probably, I wonder if he paid to be in the game or if they paid him.
no,
They're like,
it seems like they
that's
paid
crazy.
him.
I want to know who wants to be Jake Paul in this game because I'm just thinking I want my fighter that I build to beat his ass in this game.
He's only a cruiserweight. So this will give life to the virtual cruiserweight division because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people just creating cruiserweight fighters and just knocking out Jake Paul, who has an 84 overall. I got to see if he's like overpowered or whatever the case may be. I haven't fought against him yet. I will not use him in the game. This also like we could talk about this, but I think there will be more packs to come. He has a higher overall rating at 84 than 43 boxers in this game, 43 of them, okay, including a few in his own weight class. I'm not going to give you the names of all 43, although I will mention that he does have the same overall at cruiserweight as Johnny Nelson, higher than Enzo Macchiarelli,
How does that make any sense? Like
higher
that
than
doesn't make no, that makes no sense to me, like whatsoever.
higher than Lyndon Arthur as well.
Well,
I
so
think higher
Steel
than Lawrence
City,
Okolie also.
so Steel City is gonna make me pay like $20 for this pack because I'm in Canada, so they're gonna have it a little bit more expensive, right?
Mhm.
And then they're gonna tell me some bullshit that Jake Paul is 84. and that he's better than Lyndon Arthur, stop it.
He has a higher overall rating than these other fighters in different weight classes, but still, the overall ratings are not like weight class specific. Um, Joe Joyce apparently is lower than 84 in this game. Kell Brook, Caleb Plant, Sean Porter. I gotta verify that one. Regis Prograis, I believe that's true. I believe he's like an 83 or something along those lines. Jaime Munguia,
How does this make any sense that he's at 84?
Mickey
Like,
Ward, Kevin
oh my
Kelly,
goodness.
the Flushing Flash, Kevin Kelly, Natasha Jonas, Alicia Napoleon, Jessica McCaskill, Carl Frampton, Josh Warrington, so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, a guy who lost to Tommy Fury and whose best win in boxing is over Anderson Silva, 84 overall in the game because, popularity. That's what I got on that.
The ratings are absolute trash. If you're in the comments, let us know if you are going to be buying that pack. There are some fighters in there where I'm like, I gotta get it. I haven't gotten it yet, but I do plan to. But this is one of those things, Brian, where I'm like, man, we paid $100 for this game if you bought the deluxe edition, which I did. And we're having to pay an extra $20 for this pack. And the game also has updates. Like, you paid $100 for an unfinished game, essentially, that we waited for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the game, it's not finished. There's a lot of things that have issues, especially if you're going to be playing online. And then they give us a pack and they rate Jake Paul 84.
Yeah.
And, you get some fighters that you do probably want to play with or fight against. But I mean, how disappointing is that? Like, you pay $100 for a game and you get these updates later on and you're having to pay more. Like, I think that pisses me off because as a boxing fan, like, why are we they are Steel City. They're stealing from us.
You know
You know
what
what
it
I mean?
is, though? You know what it is? It's because, like, you know how this shit works. It's not going to stop here. Like, who's to say, okay, if Jake Paul's in the game, then Amanda Serrano is probably going to make an appearance at some point. And who's to say, and this is like I'll be curious to see if like they have something like this already in the works. But you could sell a Puerto Rican pack right now with like a headline by Amanda Serrano. And it's like, okay, Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, Hector Camacho, Wilfredo Gomez, and somebody else, maybe like a Crystal Rosado, right? Like someone up and coming or whatever the case may be, or a Stephanie Pinheiro, something along those lines. Like, you can do that, and they're gonna charge $20. They're gonna have a pack for this, pack for that. So, like, it's kind of crazy. Like, I understand. I understand like the DLC coming later. Like, that's just where we are now. But I mean, if people bought the deluxe and you're gonna keep charging them over and over for these packs, like where is it gonna end? Especially if, and this is the other thing, it's not like the game has been highly praised to the point where it's gonna get like game of the year from all these different organizations or whatever. I'm not even sure if it's gonna get nominated. We'll see. I'm sure like they'll figure out business ways to get this done. But the game has gotten criticism from the community, from like a good amount of people, whatever the case may be, just based off of gameplay, bugs, the online stuff. I'm not touching online play like that at all, but people who play online have been complaining vociferously about the gameplay, about the people quitting and then getting lost
Yo, can
anyway.
I tell you what happened to me playing Undisputed the other
Yeah.
night? This was like the dumbest thing that's ever happened to me on Undisputed. So I'm in the ring and I'm fighting. Who am I fighting? This is a player that I created. Heather Hardy, right?
Hmm.
And so we're fighting, and
Also lower overall than Jake Paul.
yeah, it's crazy. So I'm in the ring and I'm fighting Heather Hardy. Right? This is like I'm fighting her before I have a title shot. And
Former guest of the show, by the way, also.
yeah, former and she's backing up, right? Because I'm coming forward because
Yeah.
like I'm totally fighting Mexican style, right? Like, that's how my fighter fights, like just reckless. And she's backing up and she backs out all the way out the ring into where she walked in from, and she's backing up and backing up and backing up, and she's like not even in the picture, and
Really?
all you see is her backing up like this. Like, I was like, what is going on right now? And I thought like maybe it would snap into like it would just fix all of a sudden, but she just kept on backing up and backing up, and like that's what was happening. Like she just backed up out of the ring, and I had to restart that fight. It was the weirdest thing that ever happened, and that was the biggest glitch that I had. So that was just it was just like really funny. I'm like, yo, she backed out of the whole entire ring. So that was there's like small glitches here and there, but that's like the weirdest thing that's happened on Undisputed.
There are new knockdown and knockout animations, and we're gonna put up a couple comments here. There are new knockdown and knockout animations, one of which I saw and it looked pretty silly. It looked almost ragdoll like. I like again, I to me this game is fun. There are things about it I enjoy, but I'm also like the target demographic for this as a boxing consumer of however many years at this point, and I've been watching the sport forever, and I cover it for a living along with other sports, but this is one of the sports I cover the closest. And like I'm probably gonna have a more favorable view on this in some ways because we just fucking have a boxing game for the first time in 13 years, like a triple
Crazy.
A, like
Yeah.
even though it's independent or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, like that also means people like you and I are going to be a little bit more critical in terms of like, hey, like your roster is very, we've talked about this, it's very British heavy. And we
Yeah,
understand
which I'm
because of
not
the,
feeling like if you watch the show, you know how I feel about Euro level fighters, and no disrespect, but I want more American fighters and I want more Mexican fighters in this game, and I want more Latino
I
fighters.
want a Puerto Rican fighter,
Of
just like
course.
a Puerto Rican fighter on
And
this
just
game.
so we're clear, the only reason why I'm paying for this pack is because I want Eric Morales and I want Juan Manuel Marquez. That's the only reason. And I was
And
like,
Marco Antonio Barrera too.
yeah,
I want
I need this pack.
and I want Jile Zhang also, and
Yeah,
Buster Douglas also.
I wouldn't mind that. But Brian, let's get to some comments quickly because we do have some comments. We'll go to our good friend of the show here, Ryan Hong. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us so early. By the way, he um
He's talking about
he's
Errol
talking about
Spence.
Spence. Yeah,
Yeah,
Spence is gonna look worse in the
so shitting on
graphics of
Errol Spence.
Undisputed. Yeah, because we were talking about Spence earlier, and his return as well. So let's get to more of those comments just in between because that came up. Spence is gonna look like dog shit whoever he fights next. Bet the house. Let's get to this one because maybe people are wondering. Shantelle, what happened to your eye? I had something in my eye and I was rubbing it and I scratched my eyeball got scratched. So I was on TV yesterday and my eye wasn't as red as this morning is kind of red, but I had to drop some drops in my eye. Anyways, that's what happened to me. I only tell you guys because you guys are friends of the show and you're wondering, okay? So don't rub your eye hard ever because that will happen to you.
I do
Let's
that
get
sometimes.
yeah, a big mistake.
Yeah.
Nerd. Ryan Hong, Spence hasn't fought in over 2 years, yet the fight to make is Bakram. How does that make sense? Well, nothing
Boxing.
makes sense, nerd. I like
Yeah.
honestly, nerd,
He's
nothing
a
makes
he's a
sense.
number one contender according to the WBC. They made him their number one contender, so whatever.
Yeah. Nomi
Nomi
Gaming.
Gaming says W
W
update.
update.
Likes the update. Okay.
He said I bought it. I still have to buy it. Nomi Gaming. So I am gonna buy it. I'm probably gonna buy it not today, but probably tomorrow.
I
So I
got it
can play
already.
so I can play it after like the football
I'm not
games and
happy
everything like
about it, but
that.
I got it.
Yeah. I have to like with the fighters they added, you know.
Yeah.
Ryan Hong, is the game any fun? I see this shit on Twitch and it looks like a 4-year-old programmed it. You know, on PS5 it doesn't look that bad. I know there's been some versions like the PC version where visually like it
Yeah.
doesn't look good for some strange reason, and I don't know if that's like a Twitch thing in terms of graphics. It shouldn't be because when people stream on Twitch it always looks like just like how you usually play it, but it's really interesting.
It looks passable. There are people that joke like it has like PS3 graphics, to
Yeah.
which it's like I don't agree necessarily, but I could see that because like if you hold it up to like Fight Night Champion, which was ahead of his time in 2011, like it's a tough comparison. But in terms of a gameplay standpoint, like yeah, you have to box. You have to
Yeah.
be able to box in this game. You can't like if you do the rock'em sock'em shit, your stamina is going to deplete. Like there are some fun elements about it, and if you like boxing and want to box in a boxing game, you'll find some enjoyment on it. But like it is kind of what you make it, right? Like the career mode after a while can get pretty stale because once you become a champion and you're fighting for a while, you're just defending your title
Yeah.
against the same people over and over and over again, because it's hard to like move up and down the contender rankings. Like there's a whole bunch of shit in the game, but I mean, like we're also in this era of sports games where sports games are lazy. Sports games don't have competition. Sports games are very unimaginative, and they put a lot of their money into like online. This one clearly didn't, but online and some of these other things instead of like career mode or whatever the case may be. And a lot of career modes, and in the case of
Yeah.
2K GM mode, like these modes suffer because like they basically like they don't have like large investment put into them. So we're in an era of just lazy ass sports franchises that like don't have competition because there's only one 2K, there's only one Madden, there's only one show, NHL. Like there's no, like they all have like exclusivity. So if you don't have competition within games like you did when we were growing up, then yeah, the games are going to suffer, and we're seeing that.
I will say one thing though, that Undisputed is not a bad boxing game. I
It's
think
not.
we're
Yeah.
very critical about it because it's been a minute since we've got one. And I also think that we have this emotional tie with Fight Night, because I know I do. Like I have an emotional tie with Fight Night where I'm like just thinking about some great memories I had playing. You know what I mean? Like I think about that. And then we haven't gotten that game for the longest time because EA was like, you know what, we're gonna focus on UFC. And then the last UFC games have been pretty stale to me and like repetitive in my opinion, but there, I mean, I think that's happening with everything, but it's not a bad boxing game. And the thing that I do like about it is like you can try to go in there and brawl and just like throw haymakers and like left hooks and shit, but you have to have a game plan if you want to win. And you have to be tactical and you got to see how, you know, the other fighter fights and like those things about the game, those little nuances I absolutely love, because you actually have to know boxing. Like you have to know the skills that you're going to be possessing against a fighter that, you know, like say if you're not a power puncher, like you got to use your skill. You got to be able to move around the ring better, which by the way, like I wonder if the update, Brian, you said you played it already, right?
A little bit, but I've
Can you
mostly
move around
I've
the ring a little bit better? Because, like, that was something for
I've
me that I thought was
yeah.
laggy. Because I like the way that I wanna fight is I wanna have a high work rate. I wanna be the aggressor. I'm gonna take a bunch of damn punches and get hit in the face, but I'm gonna throw some punches too. But I wanna be able to move around the ring because if as you know, when you're building your fighter, like, your stamina goes like crazy,
Mhm.
right? And if you're fighting a power puncher, like, I wanna stick and move. And I felt like it was a little bit laggy at times. And that
Yeah.
was pissing me off throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get more into it before speaking on that, but from what I've seen, because I was mostly looking up gameplay because like I've been working on that shit. Um, Looking up things, like it does look a little more fluid. I feel like there's still gonna be ghost punches. There's still gonna be like those weird things, and the AI is still gonna be like just appear off at times. But it does look like it's gonna be a more fluid experience. But I want to like actually try it out. But I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, okay, so we have this update, and this is supposed to be like the update to December 1. And we'll only know with time as to whether or not that's legit. But there's gonna be other updates. There's gonna be, and again, like I just don't like this era where it's like the game comes out, it's incomplete. This isn't just specific to this franchise. This is every fucking game at this point. The game comes out, it's incomplete. We'll patch it up, and then eventually we'll have another update, and then eventually we'll have another update, and then it's like, bro, the next game is coming out in like 6 months. Like, what are we doing here? You know, this is why people also fear that the game will be abandoned at some point, because there are people who think this is a big ass money grab. So, I mean, we'll see. And the roster is a big thing of importance to me. Like, I was waiting for this pack so I can get particularly Barrera, Morales, Will
Yeah.
Marquez to restart a career mode, because now supposedly you can jump up and down weight classes, which
Yeah.
is a thing you couldn't do in career mode at launch. Which, how the fuck could you not do that in boxing? But
Yeah.
you can jump up and down weight classes supposedly, and with those fighters, like if you're in that featherweight, lightweight range,
You
like
know what
you're
though?
gonna want them there. And on top of that, it's like, yo, I still want a more well-rounded roster. Like, why does Adam Hamed get to be in the game despite the fact that he's 3-0 in his career?
Nobody's gonna use him. Okay. We're just
Honestly,
gonna kick his ass. The only thing that I will say is it like isn't a money grab. The one thing that I will say, guys, is if they put Chocolatito in this game, I don't care. I'm buying it. Like I'm buying it right away. Like I'm spending my money. So there's particular fighters where if they put them in this game, there's no way I'm not going to spend the money. And I think that can be annoying in terms of if you already purchased this game, but there's some packs that might come out where I'm not going to be able to say no, like as a boxing fan and as someone that wants to play this on my PS5. Like there's like if Miguel Cotto came out,
Yeah.
we're buying that pack, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's no way we're not buying that pack. So I think it's one of those things where it's like they know they got us. Like, they
No,
know we're gonna purchase
but
this.
that's everything now. You know what I mean? Like that's everything. But also, it doesn't mean you're not a fucking dick if
Yeah.
if you're just waving that in front of everybody. Like if I had to choose from this pack who I actually want to be in the game, I would take all three Mexican legends. I would take Zhilei Zhang. I would take Buster Douglas. All due respect to Otto Wallin, I'm good, and I don't care to have Jake Paul in the game. But now that he's in the game, because I had to get this pack to get those guys, because that's just how business
Think
works. Like
about
it's
the
going to
little
be
kids.
transactional. Like
Yeah, think about the little kids that are like, I want to be Jake Paul. Like
yeah,
there's that factor. Like
yeah,
so
and
it was
then
a smart move by them.
yeah, but they're gonna get their fucking ass kicked because they probably like, they probably try to do Mexican style with absolutely no defense, and not know how to box in a video game. But like now that I have Jake Paul because of this pack, like yeah, I can create a cruiserweight and beat the shit out of him and then move up to heavyweight. Like, but if you're Jake Paul, also you're laughing to the bank with this because it's another bag. Probably doesn't care that people are going to beat him up in a video game because it means it's better for him, and then Undisputed legitimizes him in their own way as somebody who is like, they put him
Legit.
at an 84 level or whatever the case may be. There's going to be people posting that, hey, I won the world title with Jake Paul and Undisputed, and I won an Undisputed title and all this bullshit that's never going to happen in real life. But yeah, they're
I
going to
think
be able
that's
to parade
cool.
around doing that.
I think that's cool for Jake Paul though. Like just playing devil's advocate. Like if I'm Jake Paul
It's definitely
and
devil's advocate.
it's awesome if I'm Jake Paul. Like I'm loving it. Like if I'm because as a kid, you're playing all these games and you never think, you're possibly going to be in one. Like think about being an athlete and then being in a video game. Right. So I think that factor of it is kind of cool. And I always play devil's advocate with the whole Jake Paul thing because there's kind of like a love-hate relationship thing
I'm
that
not going to use Jake Paul as a
no,
sympathetic
I'm
figure.
just gonna whoop his ass. But I'm just saying for him, he's probably like, yo, I'm in a boxing video game. Like, how cool. Right. So I mean, there's that
I
aspect.
feel so great for him.
Yeah.
Amazing for
I'm
him.
being
Yeah.
really positive and Brian is not, but that's okay. Drop your comments, guys, if you're going to be buying the pack, if you're excited for it, who you want to play, if you're going to play with Jake Paul in this pack, because that was kind of the trailer that was released. Like, ooh, we're adding Jake Paul. And I was like, yo, you should have made one with Morales and
He was the
Marquez.
center of the
And
trailer too with
I
Barrera
hated it.
Morales. Like he was
Like,
the
how could
featured
you
guy.
do that? Like, how could you do that? But it's a pack that is really interesting, guys. We are going to continuously do these and undisputed updates with you guys all the time. If you want more content on the video game side, you can always drop some more comments and we will have you covered. I believe their next one's going to come in March, springtime,
Really?
possibly. I think that was the rumor. I could be wrong. Don't quote me.
There's been a rumor forever that Shakur Stevenson will end up in this at some point.
Okay, that's good.
But that'll be annoying because it's like I want Shakur Stevenson now because
Yeah.
he's gonna be featherweight, lightweight. He's gonna be both. He'll probably they might put him at bantamweight too because they have people like not quite in the weight class that they fought in, but close enough as well, like just as an option. So okay, so I'm gonna have to do another career mode at featherweight, lightweight, and when Shakur Stevenson is out, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And there's people that want Tank in the game. I would give
I
up.
want Tank in the game.
You think they're gonna
100%.
put Tank? I don't think they're putting
No,
Tank in
I
this
also
game.
want Teofimo Lopez in the game.
Like if you have the Saudis involved, Steel City also, Tank is a PBC guy. Like, what is the route to getting Tank in this game? I don't think Tank's gonna be in this game at all.
Dollars a bag. Like
I don't think Tank's gonna be
I
in this
think that
game.
one, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do want
Like
to see a
Canelo,
better roster.
like Canelo's Canelo, and
Yeah.
he may have even agreed to be in this game before he joined with PBC. I'm not even sure. Like this, but I don't I don't think Tank gives a fuck about being in a video game.
But
But
Tank is
I hope
Tank.
he's
I mean,
in. I hope
I
he's.
want him in the video game, like
Me
just as a
too.
fan. Like I would do a career mode with Tank, but I'm gonna definitely do one with Eric Morales and Juan Manuel Marquez. Like I have to do a career mode with them. Right now, I'm doing one with Bam. and I'm
Mm,
thoroughly enjoying it as well. So it's going to be interesting. I hope they put Inouye in the game.
that one I could see
Yeah,
because
I mean, like, how
he
could you
did that.
not put Inouye in the game? And then also when you think about in terms of how big of a superstar he is in Asia, like
Yeah,
not even and even worldwide, like not even just Asia, just worldwide. Like, how do you not have Inouye in this game? Could you just imagine just knocking people out all the time? I would not even create a fighter. I would just be Inouye all the time. I would see how far I can move up.
he might be the first fighter in the game I'd avoid. I fought Lomachenko, and like that was a stressful experience, but we ended up getting it done. But whew, Lomachenko's a fucking badass in that game. Nerd, is the game realistic? Can you do catch weights and rehydration clauses? Not that realistic, but I mean, you can't do catch weights and rehydration clauses, but you do have to make weight and you want to be on weight because then you'll have higher attributes. Like the better in shape you are, then the more advantageous it is to your fight night performance. But you can't really do catch weights. You can potentially come in like a little bit above the weight limit, but your overall will suffer slightly as a result.
There's been times where I haven't been in my like perfect weight limit, and there's been times where like I don't have a lot of energy and I
Yeah.
suffer in the ring when it comes to like the eighth round, but I still win, you know.
Yeah. You
But like
really,
it's tough, but yeah,
you,
it's not easy. That's what I'll say. Like it is realistic in that sense.
Yeah, like you have fight camps rather, where you have to do strength training, weight training, different exercises, whatever. They don't show you any of this shit. You just got to pick it because they're just simulating it. This is where the game gets very like football managery. If you know the football manager franchise, their football, not ours. The global game, not the national one that we have here.
Footy.
Yeah, but that like that's where like it just kind of looks like that where you're just pressing things over and over. Football Manager's fun as shit. I'm not like knocking it or whatever. But like I wish it's to say this about Undisputed. I wish that in training camp you could actually like do training camp. It was one of the things that we loved about Fight Night that was interactive with Fight Night, even all the way up until Fight Night Champion, where you could actually spar. You could actually that's a funny comment. We'll get to that in a second. You could actually spar. You could actually like hit the bag. You could actually like do all these different drills or whatever the case would be. You can't do any of that in
Yo, you know
Undisputed.
what would be sick? Because like in college football, you can you can do things that are not good, like not study for your test or
Yeah,
something like that.
you
It'd
could
be
go out and
funny.
party.
Yeah, like
This
it would be
girl
funny. It
always
would be funny in the game if they're like, "Do you want to do steroids?" Like just like terrible shit, right? Like just realistic terrible shit, and you would have to decide as a fighter. I don't know. Like I think that would be so hilarious. But I wish there was like post fight interviews or like press conferences, and then you could pick just like 2K, and you can pick what they say and like build your fighter that way. I think it's missing that element the most because that was one of the things when I was buying 2K that I loved, about the game. So I feel like there's that aspect that is missing as well.
they should add like trainers who are assholes, like a trainer who will potentially slip a little something into your drink that you don't know about to make you stronger or whatever, then you test positive and then like, you have to like go at it with them, sue them or whatever the case may be.
Yo, by the way,
You should
guys,
have like
yeah,
a manager that could steal money from you or whatever, like
yeah.
nefarious shit that you
There's
have to
got to
deal
be
with.
someone that steals money from you. Your promoter or your manager, someone's got to
Your
steal bread from you.
cousin,
You
your
know,
ex.
but I think that comes within story mode, right? Like, remember, there was a very, very good story mode that we fell in love with in
Fight
Fight
Night
Night,
Champion. Oh god,
and we
Andre
love
Bishop.
that. Yeah, we
Yes.
love that story mode. So I think as we continued, it sounds like EA is possibly working on a game. Like I know there's rumors about it. I hope they
Hmm,
bring back Fight Night,
hmm.
and I bet you they would bring back story mode. And I mean that wouldn't be good for Undisputed, but then Undisputed would have some competition,
Yes.
and so maybe that would be kind of a good aspect of it. But yeah, I mean in this game, there's so many ways where it can be better. And some comments on what you would like to see in the game, and if you're enjoying it so far. Brian, any final thoughts before we kind of move on from this topic?
Nerd, they don't do VADA testing. Thank you for the comment. That was funny as hell. We both said around the time this came out that we probably give this game like a 6, 6.5 out of 10. I feel like I'm still pretty much there. Like I don't. I don't think it's higher than a 7, and I don't think it's lower than a 6. I think it's right within that range, which is fine. Like that means it's a fine, decent, pretty good, fun experience, but needs work if it's gonna be like one of the great ones.
Ryan Hong, they need Angel Garcia. Wouldn't that be hilarious if they started putting dads in the video game, just in the corner?
That's another thing too. I hate the way everyone like just looks, just in terms of like they all have the same exact.
Basic. It's basic.
Everyone walks to the ring the exact same way. When they get announced, it's the exact same response. All the trainers wear the same shit.
Yo,
There's
and I
no
think that's something.
personality. It's
I,
super fucking dull. It's
and I think that's
annoying.
something they could have added. Like the Saudis got bread, so it's like when it comes to licensing and music, like we were able to do this on N64 for WrestleMania 2000. We were able to pick our walkout song and everything like that. So it's like why can't we do it 24 years later? That's something we were able to do. Do you remember that for WrestleMania 2000 and on N64? Did you play that, Brian?
Yeah, a little bit.
You were like really young, right?
My brother had it, but yeah, a little bit. I mean, he had
It was
no
a good
mercy.
time.
He had no
No
mercy.
Mercy was
Like,
dope. Yeah,
you
No
know,
Mercy was dope. But like when WrestleMania 2000 came out,
yeah.
you could pick your entrance song and like create your fighter. And you could also do that for that other game too. I think it was like NWO versus I forget, but you could
WCW.
yeah,
Yeah,
WCW. That game was dope too. And you could do that
you
in
could,
that game too.
but you could do
And
that
that
in
was for N64 guys in like 1999
you
and
could do that in
2000.
fight. You could do that in Fight Night also.
Yeah, and
You
just
know,
like the Saudis got bread, just
like
license some music. Let us pick our entrance song. Like let us do something a little bit different.
in Fight Night, you could choose how you want to walk out to the ring in terms of like what's your demeanor and your motions. Like you can't do it in depth like the way you do it in WWE and even back then in SmackDown versus Raw. But that's because like the entrance is more a part of it than even in boxing. Because in boxing you just got to get to the ring. But when you walked out, like your trainers were wearing your colors. They actually had a little bit more life to them. It didn't feel as bland. The presentation was just better. And these are games that came out 13, and in the case of Fight
If you
Night
want to
Round
know how
4,
the
15
walkout
years
is,
ago.
it's just literally this them going like this.
Yeah, it's literally them going like that, and they hold their gloves like who the fuck does like everyone does that? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Why is Heather Hardy doing the same thing as Deontay Wilder, doing the same thing as Natasha Jonas, doing the same thing as Bam Rodriguez, doing the same thing as Canelo Alvarez, doing the same thing as Adam Hamed, doing the same thing as apparently Jake Paul is going to be doing? Like this is
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think as they'll get the details of how the fans kind of want this game. Friend of the
They've
show,
gotten the
nerd.
details already. Like the
Yeah,
fans have been telling them, but they keep
yeah.
like, "Oh no, the game is great." Whatever, whatever. Like like it's just same shit. Like when you look at any post Undisputed has, the top comments are, "Can you fix this? Can you fix this part of the game?
But
Can
I
you
think it's
fix this?"
easier
Whatever,
said than
whatever.
done, right? Like we can voice what we want in the game.
Sure,
They're not
but
gonna add everything.
they've had years
Yeah.
and they've given off. See, this is what happens when you overpromise at every turn. They've given off, hey, this is going to be amazing. We're working very hard on this, and I have no doubt that they are. But there are some things in the game that are obviously missing. Like just obvious. Like even
How
from
many
a
games have Steel City actually put out?
this is their first big one.
Well, that could also be the reason, right? They're not experienced in making games. Like it's not Rockstar Entertainment where we're getting another GTA and it's going to build off of that,
But it
right? So
looks like
this is their first game, and I once again I'm playing devil's advocate,
this is
right? But
clearly,
like, yeah,
yes.
but
But
I
it
mean
but
that's why we have this show. But
but
that's what I'm
it
saying.
looks
Like
like
we can't expect it to be like the most perfect game ever because let's be serious. No matter what game they were going to put out, we were going to have criticisms about it. Like waiting for as people that like played Fight Night, as people that game, like we were gonna have a bunch of criticisms for it. I just didn't think it would be this much. But it is their first game that they put out. So I'm like, okay.
allocate your resources into better places. Like a lot of focus was clearly targeted on the roster, like mainly the roster and getting like these alternate attires or whatever the case may be. But again, everyone does the exact same motions. There are not enough fighting styles in the game. The roster is very skewed toward one region, like in totality. The career mode, like it's pretty bland. Like it can be fun because there are fun things about it, but like and there's been jokes online about how all the created characters look like wax figures. Like they're like if you look at the game like in itself, it's like where was all this money allocated? And allegedly Turk put some money up for this too. You know what I mean? And they have the Riyadh season branding and shit like that. But like again, the game is fun, but it's heavily flawed. Heavily flawed.
Yeah, and I think as, a bunch of people that waited for a boxing game, like we're going to get everything that we can get out of it, but we're going to want something better. And hopefully the rumors are true with EA and Fight Night. It would be interesting to see what their roster would be like, but also the updates that will come after this one, because it sounds like there's going to be more packs. So,
Yeah.
drop the comments below, guys. Let us know how you're feeling about this video game. Let us know if you're going to be buying the pack. Let us know what else you want to see in the video game, what you're frustrated with, how your experience has been so far. A couple more questions before we get onto the next topic. Nerd, that's a badass game. I think he's talking about WrestleMania or also No Mercy. You can let us know, Nerd. Stone Cold Steve Austin was my guy. I beat the 100-man Royal Rumble with dude. Yeah, like those old school wrestling games are probably like some of the best games of all time.